Imagine waiting for the happiest day of your life and walking away instead. 25 years later, the past knocks on your door, and this time it won't be ignored. Tell me, where are you tuning in from today? Take a breath and step into the story. Martin Douglas, a millionaire financier, once gripped a hospital chair as his wife, Vanessa, gave birth to twins Betsy and Jeff. Fear drove him to flee, abandoning them. Now, in the polished boardroom of his Boston company, two faces with his own hazel eyes emerge, carrying a truth he can't escape. Who are Betsy and Jeff? And what will they force Martin to face? Drop a comment with your thoughts and join the kindness in real-life community to uncover a tale of redemption and family. The hospital waiting room stank of antiseptic and stale coffee, a sour blend that churned Martin Douglas's stomach. He slumped in a plastic chair, lean frame rigid, blonde hair neatly combed, tailored suit creased from hours of waiting. His face, taut with dread, stared at the double doors where Vanessa, his wife, had been rushed for an emergency C-section. The clock's relentless ticking fueled his panicked twins. Premature, hooked to machines, his carefully planned life unraveling. His knuckles whitened, gripping the chair, gaze fixed on the doors, expression a mask of fear. Martin thrived on control. Ivy League degree, rising star in Boston finance, a future etched in stone. Vanessa, with her dark hair and vibrant charm, was his perfect match, the ideal partner for their elite social circle. But now, chaos loomed. His face twitched, expression darkening. Glancing at the clock, 6 hours and counting, visions of fragile infants, medical bills, and derailed ambitions swarmed his mind. Mr. Douglas, a nurse's voice cut through, her scrubs crisp, brown hair tied back, face calm, looking at him with steady reassurance. Your wife's stable. Cesarean went well. Want to see your kids? He nodded, stiff, standing, suit smoothing under shaky hands, face pale, gaze distant, following her down a sterile corridor. Vanessa's under anesthesia, but will wake soon. The nurse, Clara, said yo, her expression soft. Glancing at him, the neonatal unit hummed with monitors, soft light casting shadows. Clara stopped at an incubator holding two tiny infants, their skin a deep brown, stark against the white blankets. Martin froze, face crumpling in shock, staring at the twins, his throat tight. There's a mistake, he rasped, voice breaking, looking at Clara, expression wild with disbelief. These aren't my kids. Clara's face flickered, puzzled, gaze shifting to the babies. Mr. Douglas. These are Vanessa Douglas's twins, a boy and a girl, healthy for preemies. Martin's gaze locked on the infants, their delicate noses and curled fists stirring a storm. Vanessa's heritage, his own, none of it added up. His face hardened, expression bitter, turning away from the twins. Betrayal burned. Vanessa, unfaithful, with someone else. In 1996, in their polished world, this was beyond scandal. It was ruin. Sir, Clara's voice wavered, expression tense. Looking at him, need air, Martin muttered. Face ashen, gaze frantic, backing away. His suit rustled as he strode past nurses, past fathers-to-be, their stares trailing him. Polished shoes echoed. Expression set, staring ahead. The parking lot was a gray haze, his BMW a sanctuary. He slid inside, hands trembling, face grim, fumbling the key. What would his parents think? His colleagues? His expression twisted shame, fury glancing at the hospital in the rear view. Control defined Martin, every deal precise, every step calculated. This was humiliation, a stain he couldn't wash out. His face tightened, gaze burning, gripping the wheel. He couldn't face Vanessa's lies, the gossip, the judgment. Divorce was the answer. Let her explain the twins. He'd start fresh, untarnished. The engine growled, expression resolute, staring at the road, driving from the hospital. Vanessa. And the twins he refused to claim. A flicker of guilt crossed his face, quickly buried. Gaze forward, set on escape. The hospital shrank in the distance, but its weight clung. Clara, back at the neonatal unit, stood by the twins. Brown hair loose now, face heavy, gazing at their tiny forms. She'd seen fear in parents, but Martin's flight was raw, final. The boy stirred, his brown skin catching the light, tiny face peaceful, oblivious to abandonment. The girl slept beside him, brown skin soft, face serene, curled close. Clara's expression softened, gaze tender, looking at them. "You'll be okay," she whispered, heart doubting. Glancing at the empty hallway, Martin fled through. Vanessa woke hours later, dark hair tangled, face groggy under harsh lights. Her gaze searched the room, expecting Martin's familiar suit and blonde hair. A doctor approached, white coat crisp, short black hair neat, face warm, looking at her with care. "Your twins are healthy," he said, expression painted, boy and girl. Vanessa's face brightened, gaze hopeful, looking at him. "Where's Martin? Has he seen them?" The doctor's expression faltered, gaze dropping, hesitating. "He left. Mrs. Douglas. We don't know where." Her face collapsed, gaze wide, expression breaking, staring at the doctor. "Left," she whispered, voice cracking. He nodded, face somber, looking at her. "We'll care for you and the babies. Rest." Vanessa's expression sank, gaze glistening, turning to the window, staring at the night sky. Her heart shattered, but strength flickered. She'd protect her twins, alone if needed. Her face steadied, gaze resolute, looking at the stars, a mother's resolve igniting. Martin's BMW tore through Boston's outskirts, city lights blurring. His face was drained, gaze hollow, expression controlled. Glancing at the dashboard midnight, he'd find a hotel, call his lawyer, cut ties cleanly. His expression twitched, doubt creeping, but he crushed it, staring at the road. The twins' faces' brown skin, delicate features flashed unbidden. Were they his? Could he be wrong? His face tensed, gaze narrowing, shaking it off. Vanessa's betrayal was obvious. He'd rebuild. Forget. At a red light, he paused, face conflicted, gazing at his wedding band, its gold glinting. He yanked it off, tossing it into the glove compartment, expression hard, staring as the light turned green. The hospital was miles away, but its shadow lingered. Vanessa's trusting gaze haunted him. His face faltered, gaze misty, but he gripped the wheel. Driving into the night, desperate to outrun guilt, Clara checked the twins again, brown hair tucked behind her ears, face gentle, gazing at their incubator. The boy's hand twitched, brown skin glowing, face calm. The girl's lashes fluttered, brown skin warmed, face peaceful, nestled close. Clara's expression ached, gaze heavy, looking at their chart. Baby boy Douglas, baby girl Douglas. No names yet, Vanessa would decide soon. Her face lifted, gaze hopeful, staring at them. "You've got a strong mom," she murmured, praying it would suffice. Martin reached a hotel, face weary, suite rumpled, gaze dull. Stepping into the lobby, the clerk, short dreads and a bright smile, looked at him, face welcoming. Checking in, Martin nodded, handing over his card, expression tight, staring at the counter. "Rough night?" she asked, gaze curious, looking at him. "Yeah?" he mumbled, face closed. Taking the key, in a sterile room, he collapsed onto the bed, expression blank, gazing at the ceiling. Sleep evaded him, the twins' brown skin and Vanessa's pain looping endlessly. His phone buzzed a colleague's text about a deal. Martin ignored it, face hollow, gaze drifting to his briefcase, stuffed with contracts for a life he'd planned. His expression cracked, a pang of regret, but he shoved it down, staring at the dark window. He'd fled the truth today, but deep down, a whisper lingered. Had he made a terrible mistake? His face softened, gaze distant, lost in the night, the weight of his choice settling like a stone. Martin Douglas stood at the edge of his corner office, the Boston skyline sprawling beyond the glass. His lean frame was stiff in a tailored suit, silver hair neatly combed, face drawn with unease as he stared at the city below. The air held a faint scent of leather and coffee, but it couldn't quell the churn in his chest. 2 days ago, Betsy and Jeff Morgan had walked into his conference room, venture capitalists with rich brown skin and hazel eyes that pierced like his own. Their words, "Let's just say we have a personal interest," Dad, lingered, sharp and heavy. His face twitched, gaze drifting to the horizon, replaying their poised features and Jeff's birthmark, a mirror of his own. He sank into his chair, suit creasing slightly, hands unsteady as he glanced at a framed photo of Teresa, his wife. Her elegant smile seemed to judge his unraveling life. The twins' offer to save Douglas Financial Services was a lifeline, but their demand for answers cut deeper. Had he misjudged Vanessa 25 years ago? His fingers hovered over the keyboard, face tense, gaze fixed on the screen. He typed Vanessa Douglas, paused, then tried Morgan Ventures. Articles praised the twins' rise, Betsy's twists sleek in photos, Jeff's fade crisp, both in sharp suits, their faces calm with quiet authority. A knock interrupted. Dennis, his CFO, stood in the doorway, stocky in a gray suit, dark hair slicked back, face etched with concern. The board's asking about the Morgan deal. Rumors are circulating about your connection to the twins. Martin's jaw tightened, gaze narrowing. Stall them. I need time. Dennis nodded, his expression uneasy, and left. Martin's face softened, a flicker of doubt crossing it as he reached for his phone. He dialed Paul, an old friend and private investigator, suit shifting as he leaned forward. Gaze on a pen he twirled. Paul, dig into Vanessa Douglas and her kids, Betsy and Jeff Morgan. Discreetly, I need it yesterday. Paul's voice was steady. Got it. I'll call when I have something. Martin hung up, face pensive, gaze drifting to a locked desk drawer. Inside was a faded photo of Vanessa on their wedding day, dark hair flowing, her smile radiant. Guilt stirred, but he locked the drawer, face hardening, and stood, grabbing his coat. The twins had invited him to dinner at the Bristol tonight, with Vanessa joining. His stomach knotted, gaze flickering to his watch, hours to go. He needed answers first, and the hospital where it all began might hold them, at Boston General. The neonatal unit's soft beeps hadn't changed. Martin approached the records office, suit crisp, face strained with anticipation. The clerk, with short curls and a bright sweater, smiled warmly. I need birth records from 1996, for Vanessa Douglas's twins. I'm her ex-husband. The clerk's expression turned cautious. Those are confidential, unless you're immediate family. His face faltered, gaze dropping briefly. Please, it's important. She hesitated, then disappeared to check, leaving Martin pacing, suit rustling, his expression anxious. When she returned, her face was neutral, handing him a thin file, basic info only. Full records need legal approval. Martin's fingers trembled, gaze locked on the file as he opened it. Birth certificates listed Betsy Morgan Douglas and Jeff Morgan Douglas. Born premature, healthy. Vanessa's name, his own, as parents. No hint of another man. His face crumpled, realization dawning. He'd abandoned his own children over a lie he'd built in his panic. His gaze blurred, fixed on the page, the weight of 25 years pressing down. Back in his office, Paul called, voice brisk. Vanessa's a pediatric nurse in New York. Never remarried. Twins went to Columbia, built Morgan Ventures from scratch. No scandals, no other men during your marriage. She had breast cancer 5 years ago, barely survived. That's when the twins started tracking you. Martin's expression sank, suit slumping against the chair, gaze vacant. Guilt clawed deeper, Vanessa's strength shaming his cowardice. He arrived at the Bristol early, navy suit pressed, face pale with nerves, hands clutching a scotch as he watched the harbor through the dining room's window. Betsy entered first, burgundy dress flowing, twists elegant, her expression cool and measured. Jeff followed, suit sharp, fade neat, his face guarded but resolute. They sat, their poise a silent rebuke to Martin's past. Mom's on her way, Betsy said. Martin nodded, his expression strained. I'm glad we're doing this. Vanessa arrived, her silver-streaked bob sleek, black dress understated, face warm but etched with fatigue. She carried the same vibrancy Martin remembered. now tempered by years of struggle. "Martin," she said, her voice steady. "It's been a long time. I'm sorry," he blurted, face raw with regret. "It's not enough, but I'm sorry. Let's sit," she replied, gesturing to the table. The dining room's chandelier cast a soft glow, but the clink of cutlery felt loud in the tense silence. Betsy broke it, her tone professional. "We've followed your company for years. It's why we're here to invest, but also for answers." Jeff nodded. "Your foundation's strong, but your strategy's outdated. We can turn it around." "And the personal side?" Martin asked, his voice cautious. "You left us," Betsy said, her words sharp. "We want to know why." Vanessa's expression tightened, her voice gentle but firm. "They deserve the truth." "Martin." Martin's face sank, gaze dropping to his plate, sweet taut across his shoulders. "I thought you'd been unfaithful. The twins, they didn't look like me." I panicked. "Because they were black?" Betsy asked, her tone cutting. He nodded, face flushed with shame. "I was young, shallow. I didn't know about your grandmother, your heritage. I just ran." Jeff's voice was cold, "and never checked if you were wrong. Never looked back. I convinced myself you were better off without me," Martin said, his voice hollow. "I told them you weren't ready to be a father." Vanessa said, "I never spoke ill of you." Martin's expression twisted, overwhelmed by her grace, his gaze misty as he met hers. The meal continued, conversation stilted but softening. Betsy outlined their investment plan, her face confident, twists catching the light. Jeff added details, his expression serious, fade sharp under the chandelier. Vanessa shared snippets of the twins' childhood science fairs, piano recitals, her face glowing with pride, dressed still as she spoke. Martin listened, face aching with loss, gaze drifting between them. The family he'd missed. As dessert arrived, Betsy stood, her expression resolute. "We'll send the investment terms tomorrow, but this conversation isn't over." Jeff agreed, his face firm. "We're not done talking." "Thank you for coming," Vanessa said, her voice kind. Dress brushing the chair as she rose. Martin's face was heavy, gaze following them as they left, suit weighing on his shoulders. The harbor lights shimmered outside, but the warmth of their brief connection lingered, fragile and new. He sat alone, face pensive, fingers tracing the rim of his glass. The past no longer buried. Vanessa's forgiveness, the twins' success, they were a mirror to his failures, but also a chance to mend what he'd broken. His expression softened, gaze fixed on the empty chairs, a flicker of hope stirring. What will Martin uncover when Vanessa's secret illness comes to light? Subscribe his video to find out. The hospital room at Johns Hopkins was a sterile cocoon, monitors humming softly as Martin Douglas sat by Vanessa's bedside, his lean frame slouched in a wrinkled dress shirt, silver hair disheveled, face heavy with worry, gaze fixed on Vanessa's pale features. The antiseptic scent mingled with the faint tang of his untouched coffee, a reminder of sleepless nights. A week ago, Betsy and Jeff had revealed Vanessa's stage 3 renal failure, shattering Martin's fragile hope of reconciliation. His own diagnosis, early kidney disease, had crushed his chance to donate until Dr. Smith's experimental protocol offered a risky lifeline. Martin's face tightened, gaze drifting to the IV line in Vanessa's arm, the weight of 25 years heavier than ever. Betsy entered, her twists neatly pinned, burgundy sweater soft, face guarded but softer than before, carrying a stack of medical files. Jeff followed, fade crisp, navy blazer sharp, his expression a mix of resolve and fatigue. They'd flown to Baltimore with Vanessa, rearranging their lives to be here. Martin's face flickered with gratitude, gaze meeting theirs briefly before returning to Vanessa. The twins had tested negative for kidney disease, a rare relief in this storm. But Vanessa's condition was worsening, her kidney function now critical. "The doctors are prepping for the transplant tomorrow," Betsy said, her voice steady. Martin nodded, his expression raw. "I'm ready. Whatever it takes." Jeff's tone was cautious. "You know the risks, right? This could mess you up long term." "I know," Martin replied, his voice firm. "It's the least I owe her." Vanessa stirred, her silver-streaked bob fanned on the pillow. Black hospital gown stark, face weary but warm as she woke. "You're all here," she said, her voice faint but kind. Martin's face softened, gaze locked on her. "We're not going anywhere." The room settled into a fragile calm, the twins pulling chairs closer, their faces easing slightly. Betsy opened a file, her expression focused, detailing the procedure's immunosuppression regimen. Jeff added logistics, his face serious, outlining their stay in Baltimore. Martin listened, suit jacket draped over the chair, face attentive, gaze shifting between them. Their competence, their care, it was Vanessa's legacy, a mirror to his absence. His expression ached, a quiet pride mixing with regret. Dinner arrived, simple hospital trays, and the four shared a meal, the clatter of plastic forks oddly comforting. Vanessa recounted a childhood story, Betsy's first debate wins, Jeff's quiet triumph in math, her face glowing despite her fatigue, gaze warm on her children. Martin's face cracked a small smile, gaze misty, absorbing moments he'd missed. The twins laughed, their expressions lighter, a fleeting glimpse of the family they might have been. "Tell me about your sailing," Martin said to Jeff, his voice tentative. Jeff paused, then spoke, his tone reserved but open. "Started in college. It's freedom. Out on the water," Betsy chimed in, her voice playful. "He's obsessed. Nearly capsized us last summer." Martin's face brightened, gaze on Jeff, a spark of connection flickering. The conversation flowed, awkward but genuine, until Vanessa's eyes fluttered, fatigue overtaking her. The twins stepped out to call their office, leaving Martin alone with her, his expression tender, gaze fixed on her sleeping form. "I never stopped loving you," Vanessa whispered, startling him, her voice barely audible. Martin's face crumpled, gaze dropping to her hand, which he took gently. "I didn't deserve that love. I was a coward. Vanessa, I ran from everything our kids, you, the life we could have had." Her expression was soft, gaze steady despite her weakness. "We were young. Fear makes people do terrible things. It's no excuse," he said, his voice breaking. "I missed it all: birthdays, graduations, you raising them alone. You're here now," she said, her voice kind. "That's something." His face ached, gaze misty, overwhelmed by her forgiveness. He stayed by her side, the monitor's steady beep, a quiet anchor, until dawn broke and the surgical team arrived. In the operating room, Martin lay under harsh lights, dress shirt replaced by a gown, face calm but resolute, gaze on the ceiling as the anesthesiologist worked. Betsy and Jeff appeared briefly, their faces a mix of gratitude and concern. Sweaters and blazers swapped for casual jackets. "We'll be here when you wake," Betsy said, her voice firm. "Both of you," Jeff added, his tone softer than before. Martin's face warmed, gaze meeting theirs. Then darkness took him. He woke to pain, a deep ache in his side, monitors beeping, his expression groggy, gaze blinking against the light. Betsy stood by his bed, twists loose, face drawn but relieved. "The surgery went well," she said. "Mom's kidney is working. First 24 hours are critical, but it's looking good." Martin's face relaxed, gaze softening, relief dulling the pain. "Thank you for staying." Jeff appeared, fade, neat, face less guarded, holding a water cup. "You did good, but you've got to take it easy. Your kidney's under strain now." "I will," Martin said, his voice hoarse, gaze grateful. Days blurred into a routine of recovery. Martin's strength returned, his face brighter, dress shirt back but unbuttoned, gaze often on the twins as they shuttled between rooms. Vanessa improved, her face gaining color, black gown swapped for a soft robe, expression vibrant as she sat up. One afternoon, Martin walked to her room, leaning on a nurse, face tired but hopeful, gaze lighting up at Vanessa's smile. "You're my hero," she said, her voice warm. His face shook, settling beside her, expression humble. "Not a hero, just trying to make things right." Dr. Smith entered, white coat crisp, face optimistic, carrying charts. "Vanessa, your kidneys functioning perfectly." "Martin, your remaining kidneys holding steady with careful management. I'd call this a success." Martin's face lifted, gaze meeting the twins, who stood nearby, their expressions relieved. Betsy's sweater was bright, her face soft, while Jeff's blazer was neat, his face calm. The doctor left, and the four sat, the future looming, undefined but possible. "What's next?" Betsy asked, her voice thoughtful. "Mom." "Back to New York." "Martin." "To Boston." Vanessa's face was pensive, gaze on her children. "I'm thinking of retiring. Life's too short for endless work." "You could consult," Jeff suggested. "Hospitals would love your expertise." "Or teach," Betsy added. "You always enjoyed mentoring." Martin's face was quiet. "Gaze on them. I don't know my place yet. The company's yours now. Mostly. I'd stay on if you want. But I'm open to stepping back." Betsy's expression was firm. "We want you involved. At least for the transition. With changes, more diversity, better policies. Make it a company you're proud of," Martin said, his voice sincere, face warm. The conversation turned practical. Vanessa's care, Baltimore logistics, their work. Martin's face glowed. Gaze on this makeshift family, marveling at their collaboration. Later, alone with Vanessa, his expression grew hesitant. Dress shirt creased. Gaze on her. "Could we do dinner? Maybe weekly?" he asked, voice soft. "To stay in your lives." The twins. "If they'll have me." Vanessa's face was gentle, gaze thoughtful. "Not romance, right?" "No," he said quickly, face earnest. "Just a chance to be a father, maybe a friend. I think we can manage that," she said, her voice kind. "The twins are curious about you, even if they won't say it." Martin's face softened, gaze misty, a fragile hope blooming. 6 weeks later, on a Baltimore tarmac, he stood by a jet, suit loose, face peaceful, gaze on Betsy and Jeff, their jackets bright against the autumn sky. Vanessa, robe gone for a simple dress, stood strong, her face radiant. They'd returned to New York, Martin to Boston, but weekly dinners were set a new beginning. Martin's journey reminds us that mistakes, however grave, don't define us forever. His choice to face his past, risk his health, and rebuild with Betsy, Jeff, and Vanessa shows the power of accountability and love. Redemption isn't easy. It demands courage to confront pain, seek forgiveness, and choose others over self. Vanessa's grace, the twins' resilience, and Martin's sacrifice reflect the strength in second chances. We all carry regrets, but it's never too late to make amends, to listen, to show up. What's a step you've taken to heal a broken bond, or a moment someone gave you a second chance? Share your story. In the comments, your voice inspires our kindness and real-life community. Thank you for joining this tale of family and forgiveness. Keep spreading compassion, and let's grow together through stories that touch the heart.